The following podcast has been brought to you by Audible.com. Sign up now using the URL audibletrial.com/TTV to get a free audiobook of your choosing. We recommend Brick by Brick, How LEGO Rewrote the Rules of Innovation and Conquered the Global Toy Industry. You may recognize this as one of the sources we use in our show, Bionicle Autopsy. Remember, that's audibletrial.com/TTV. Enjoy the show.
The promised day has finally arrived. Finalized Bionicle 2015 pictures have been discovered thanks to our good friend Just Too Good, Eurobricks. That's not Just Too Good on Eurobricks, that's his channel, Just Too Good Eurobricks. And I guess these images are just too good for me to handle.
No!
Wow.
Gosh dang it, I was hoping.
Someone's gotta make that pun, like on air.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
fine.
my job.
Well, I didn't want to give you the satisfaction. Anyway,
Wow.
let's, these pictures are very interesting for a variety of reasons. Some great, some unfortunately not so great. And we're going to discuss
That new how, am I right?
We're going to discuss them
Shut
at length in this coverage, so enjoy. But without further ado, let's go ahead and announce who's present with us today. My name is Messanak.
I'm Barteran.
I'm LJ.
I'm Kahi.
I'm Venom.
And this is a special TTV podcast. It'll probably be episode 117. Which is funny because for the third week in a row, we already recorded an episode 117 that's going to get usurped by this.
It's funny because this time we had to make a big deal of the name because it was 117 and it was like Halo or something.
Yeah, sorry.
X-Trooper is going to be
Yeah.
crushed.
He is. Oh,
Sorry.
Oh well. But no, the current deal is we do not have all the pictures. Just Too Good was only able to get 6. 5 of the Toa minus Onua and Lord of Skull Spiders. There are no protectors or Onua in sight. However, he will be getting those later on this week, so we'll make another video then.
Where's Onua?
Not here.
For fudge's sake.
What we have 2 sets of pictures.
Okay.
One set of transparent images with a white background, and then one showing the finalized packaging. We're going to be discussing the finalized packaging because there's nothing those other pictures can offer us. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on? Well, I guess we'll do these in order. How about Gali? Am I right?
Alright, Gali. I actually like Gali quite a lot. I think she, or if Gali is still a she in this Bionicle universe, I think Gali appears to be one of the more solid looking sets. Then again, I don't know. I kind of think they all look a little bit solid, but there's something about Gali that looks right.
Great armor coverage, I think. A cool weapon. The return of double function weaponry after so many years. I'm quite a fan.
what is the double function weaponry in this game?
Okay, if you look at her trident, it is now able to come apart and form her fins.
On her feet.
Really?
Yeah, look,
Now-
lower feet.
Yeah, Gali's weaponry has not had the ability to form fins for her since 2002 with her Nuva form, so that is quite the homage. Is it homage? Homage? Homage?
It's homage.
I believe it's so.
All right, I got it right this time.
I
Excellent.
always said homage, but whatever.
Same, but
Well,
hearing you
there's a
say it,
reason
I'm
you
like,
said it that way,
probably
Kahi.
wrong.
But anyway, yeah, no, Gali's
H.
great. I really like that mask. It looks like a nice mix between her Mata version, her Nuva version, and then new.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
like a
love
modernization of her previous, or of her original two
yeah.
cow iteration.
I actually really love it. I thought everyone was complaining about it in the prelims, but they made a couple tweaks, or maybe it's just a clearer picture. I don't really know, but I like what it looks like.
Right.
I think it's just a clearer picture.
Now, of note, the holes in her mask, if you look through them, it's pretty evident the head underneath is going to be a neutral color and not transparent. And we have the eyepiece that you can
Good.
barely see, but it is there, sticking out of the mask. It's like yellow.
Yeah.
So, return to form for Bionicle.
Yeah.
I really like how her mask, it appears to have like that visor look on it, except there's eye holes. And people were complaining about it with the prelims, how her eyes look evil or whatever. But I said it before and I'll say it again, if you take away those eye holes and just left as like a visor or whatever, nobody would complain about this mask at all. It would look almost like a real. It would look a lot more faithful to the original cow.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know, I just love her coverage, like the armor on the shoulders especially.
Yeah, her build, I honestly, personally, out of all these sets, I think Gali has the best build of all of them. Her proportions are nice, coverage is nice. It's not like too bulky, it's not too thin. Everything looks really good. Sure, some might complain that she's not feminine. Who cares? They're robots. But yeah, I think she definitely is the best set of them all. Personally, to me, I like her the most. She also isn't, as Mesa would put it, she's not asymmetrical aside from her chest printing.
Mhm.
And I like her color too. Like the color layering is really nice.
Fun fact,
She-
those that may not know it, that color's not Mata Blue.
Yeah, the color is not Mata Blue, but it's a nice color of blue though. It's a lighter blue than Mata Blue, but
Yeah, proper terminology is dark azure.
yeah.
Is it
And
really dark azure?
Yeah, it's not the Thornrax color, that's medium. It's the shade darker than
Yeah,
that.
this is gonna be a dark. Ooh, this.
interesting.
It's gonna be.
But yeah,
interesting.
and like unlike the others, the silver actually works with her because that there's 3 with gold and there's 3 with silver. The silver works with the blue, so her color scheme is overall really nice, and nothing stands out like Tahu in gold or no like Kopaka in gold. So I think she's a very very solid set, and her weapon, BA, awesome. I love it. Dual functionality is amazing too. Also, I think her mask looks much nicer than I thought previously.
To be honest, I
Yep.
prefer dual functionality any day over 2 projectiles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Having a blaster.
Totally.
Also of
'Cause then
note,
it's
the
like
Skull
there's
Spider
2
is
ways
2
to pose
shades.
them on your shelf.
Right.
The Skull Spider
Say that-
included is a 2 shade. It's a blend of colors. You can see it better in the transparent imagery.
Oh yeah. right.
Actually, I'd contend to
Unless,
disagree.
Yeah, unless it's like part of the box art lighting.
Uh,
You know.
Yeah, here's the thing with that. I do not think it's blend. I think it is silver because if you look at a lot of these images, a lot of the effects from the backgrounds have transitioned over. Specifically looking at Tahu and his fire lava board, and then Gali, look at the tip of her spear.
Mm.
We know that's yellow, but doesn't that look muted by blue?
Yeah.
I suppose that is true.
I guess, yeah.
I see what he means. The top part that's obscured by the other
Yeah, I
logo.
think it's just
In the
lighting.
transparent version.
Even still, that's pretty neat. That I also the leg pieces they are different, like we predicted. I think
Yeah.
every Skull Spider uses the new leg pieces.
Which is cool. I like the new leg piece.
Yeah, it's more hooked.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Gali.
Hey,
Also,
see, another set.
Oh.
Another set. Gali has hooks.
Yep.
Woohoo! Hooks.
Let's see.
Get hooked on that.
her
Wow.
her piece count has remained the same from the leaked imagery, by the way, unchanged, even though the pose has been altered quite a bit.
Yeah, the pose has definitely been altered. God, even the trans pieces just work a lot for her.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really like this set, and I think this
Yeah,
might
everything.
this
yeah.
might have to be my first one.
I'm definitely
Yeah.
building Gali first because that's tradition, but
Yeah, same here.
That's what I was thinking, because, yeah, Gali was my first set originally, too, so it'll be interesting.
Gali was my first Toa, so.
It's
Yeah.
funny because my first Toa was Lewa. And then
Get out of the club.
Gali, I believe, was either my second or my third. I'm pretty sure I got Tahu second, though. No, yeah, I did. Tahu was second.
Yeah, I think if I may, you guys finish up and then I want to do a quick analysis from what I've gleaned.
What, of all the sets?
No, of Gali. We're
Oh.
gonna go through these one by one.
I think we're about done with Gali, so you can.
Almost done, but
Yeah.
really quickly, judging from the background, not a lot to see here. She's in an ocean, there's water, and apparently skull spiders can swim, so that's a thing. Yeah, there's some towers behind her. Impossible to really tell if this is Mata Nui. If this is Mata Nui, it's a very different Mata Nui. So, if
Which I
Reaper,
would like if they didn't. Do
maybe
the-
it's something like Gata Nui. Oh,
I have a little bit of insight on that I'll get to as soon as I can get into analysis.
unintentional.
all right, go
shout-out.
ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. In regards to Gali, definitely like new color scheme. The dark azure is a nice medium between mata blue and light blue. The transparent light blue on her joints and the armor, that's also really cool as well. It gives them more. It keeps in Gali tradition considering her mask from 01 was transparent as well. So it's nice to see some transparent pieces return in. The trident's also cool with the dual functionality from her 2002 version. However, keep in mind that because of this dual functionality and how it's working, you're probably going to have pins sticking out of that trident when it's on the staff.
Probably.
However, it's really, really nice to see she's not double-handing the staff like we initially saw in the prelims. That frustrated me, and I'm glad it's one-handed, at least from what we can tell. Color scheme breaking notes would be the gold tip. Unless that ends up being a yellow tip, the gold tip on the bottom half of her trident. It's a little bit color scheme breaking, but not major. You can see in this image.
It's kind of
Go
fixed
ahead.
by the yellow on her chest, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, if it's yellow, it's fine. If it's gold, it's a little out of place, but not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a gold mask, so what the heck?
What the
You can
dude?
see she has back.
What the yuck?
She has transparent light blue armor on her back, same as on her arms. And you can see that the very short transparent joints are connecting her shoulder armor on her back as well.
Yup.
You're right.
Yeah, through double
Oh my
ball
goodness.
pieces on her
Yeah.
arms, which is fairly unique to her.
Yeah, dude. She has a lot of ball pieces. Oh my goodness.
All the Toa, to my knowledge, have some kind of attachment there, or at least most of them. But yeah, she's the only one that uses joints.
Oh, I'm definitely getting doubles of these sets now. I need
Wait,
those
okay.
ball pieces.
I missed that. What was that?
Look at her arms, her shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
The shoulder armor is connected by short versions of her legs in transparent light blue, and they connect to a double ball system on her shoulders. There are 2 ball joint pieces there,
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now,
side by side.
are those ball joint pieces, or is that part of the torso? I think
No,
it's part of the torso.
Nah, the exposed ball joint in front of that is part of the
Makes
torso. So there's like 3 ball joints in one arrangement. You can see the exposed ball joints unused, and you can see it better in Pohatu, because Gali and Pohatu have very similar.
Sounds good.
Well,
Also, that is a great source of ball joints, because those are very useful pieces for mocking.
They
Exactly.
are.
Now, the other thing is, she is using the new piece for the gear system on her back. She's one of few. Something to note, she's using 2 different types of silver, light silver and gunmetal. This is very evident on her torso.
Mm-hmm.
And the final thing is, if you look right in between her torso armor and her left shoulder on our right, you can see the gear that you will turn for the gear system. And
Yeah.
it is in yellow.
Another
As-
thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Please continue, please.
Okay, another thing that is very, very important to point out, and something we had heard prior to recording this video, and you will notice it a lot in the later sets. At the very top of Gali's mask, you can see a little bit tip of yellow, which is Gali's new brain stalk, which will attach into the headpiece.
Yeah.
So, the headpieces are going to be 2 different pieces, most likely. So,
Hopefully.
Probably a dark gray headpiece, and then Gali will have a yellow stock, which she had in her 01 and 02 versions, which is nice to see returning.
Most definitely.
Now,
concur.
as
She's
far as
not
the
only one.
as far as the background is concerned, if this were Matanui, I can almost assuredly say it's the underwater Ga Kini, because the Ga Kini was underwater.
That would be cool.
this is very
What?
large, though.
Also,
Yeah,
bear in
but
mind, I mean,
if
like
we look at
the old
several,
Gachini's there, right? If it's on Motonui, it's a reboot. Who knows?
yeah, but also even if it is continuation E, if it was Matanui, hypothetically speaking, it's not as unusual for it to be so large, considering A, the Kini Nui, and B, several forms of promotional artwork we've seen of the Kinis.
Well, I mean,
One of them that Lewa was walking up was very large.
yeah, you're right. That could be the Gakini, but isn't Motonui destroyed?
In
Yes,
a
which is why-
continuation sense. In a reboot, it could be anything.
Yeah, that's what LJ
Right.
is saying. If it's a continuation, it would be like Motonui.
Yeah,
Just playing,
sorry,
yeah,
playing
but
devil's
like,
advocate,
that
but
was a
Motonui is
mistake.
destroyed.
Right.
that was
That's
a
what I'm
mistake.
saying.
Okay.
Yeah, no. If it's a reboot on Matanui, then that makes sense.
Yeah, they
Well,
could
does
like.
it? Are Kini Nui still around? Do we? I mean,
Could
they
be.
changed
Yes.
the names for anything.
He's assuming that
Yep.
if it was a reboot, they'd use similar design for Motonui.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, and on the island, the Kinis were temples that were scattered around the island.
Yeah.
That is the end of my analysis.
Okay. Next one. Who's next? Oh yes, Kopaka.
Hey,
I think we should do the small sets first.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Then in that case, let's do Lewa.
Oh yeah.
So Lewa is roughly unchanged. I would go so far as to
Horrible.
say he's 100%
sucks.
unchained.
Yeah, I don't think there are any changes from this and the leak that we got previously.
Yeah, because he was, along with Tahu and the Fire Protector, he was the most final out of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna load up the Maj host
well, we
gallery.
say that, but we all know what happened to Tahu. So final. year so far.
We'll get to that. Save the best for last, am I right?
The best.
Am I right?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
best, quote unquote.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Shut
I've already
up.
gleaned several things off of this. They did change Lewa in the most minor of ways, and it's in his weapons. His weapon, the yellow pieces on his weapons got elongated.
Oh yeah,
And
you're
it gave
right.
him
They have
some
like
parts.
three yellow parts, and then yeah, his piece count did increase. I think.
Yeah. Now, this image is great because it tells us the size and length of the Mata Green arm and leg pieces he has.
No, his
And
piece
thankfully, they
count did
aren't
not
the
increase.
smallest size. Oh, interesting. Well, thankfully, his arm and leg pieces in Mata Green, which is confirmed to be returning, are not the shortest, smallest piece. They're like the second biggest. Sorry, second smallest. Like Mesa, what is that?
Size 4.
Okay, but does that look like size 4 to you?
On the upper legs, it does. On the lower arms, not sure, but I'd assume they would want to skimp on recolors and not make 2 in one set. So yes, it's probably size 4 throughout.
Size 4, and
I
that's the
don't know. I
smallest.
feel like those are size 2s.
3.
Nope.
No, I mean like size 3 is
Oh.
the proper terminology.
Nope. Whole new mold.
Whole new mold.
Alright,
New mold.
But yeah, I think I have a splitter beast right here. On the smaller beast, it would be a size 4 on the smaller beast's back, right?
Yeah,
All right, and you think those are the ones there?
personally, yes.
All right, personally, I agree. So Lewa obviously has more armor coverage than was initially perceived by myself. Also, he has a tail. Not really, but he has back armor, which I assume are going to be the things on his shoulders covering
Yeah,
his back, and that's in
it
the same
is.
silver.
It is the same piece.
Oh, hey. That's a very interesting thing to
Give me a
note
second.
because. Oh, okay, fine. Shoot.
I quite
Anyway.
enjoy it.
I was always wondering, like, what those things were on his shoulders. Like, oh, are those new pieces? No, never mind.
Yeah, those are
Not-
the beast tails.
Yeah, the beast tails.
Or I guess now,
just
if we
in
want to call
silver.
them bionicle pieces, we could say skull spider legs. Lord of skull spider legs.
I guess.
That's
Also,
kind of-
man, Meso, you were right on the money on those gears on his shoulder.
Yep.
Yeah, this is perplexing. It doesn't appear as though he's using the piece, or at least not using it traditionally, because he has two black gears on the outside of his shoulders.
Yeah.
Now, these are expertly covered by his weird shoulder attachment blades. The last time Lewa had blades on his shoulders was 2008.
Well, maybe that's consistency. I don't know.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter to me because they cover up the open ball joint, that's a con, and the gears, which is cool. Now, Lewa is also, I wouldn't say he's using two different colors of silver. Primarily, he's using the standard silver, or at least a drill dozer silver, I think it is, Meso, or thunder silver.
Correct.
And then his weapons are gunmetal.
Yeah.
Right.
Mirror's unchanged.
Actually, the Miru is very, very minorly, slightly changed.
Oh,
If you look at the chin area is a minor bit different. There's like a bar that goes on the very bottom of the chin that
Oh,
connects the
yeah.
two pieces that stick out.
You're right.
Also the eyes are different as well. If you look, the pattern in between the eyes are different than they were in the display.
Yeah, it's most evident in the gold mask.
In the gold one, yes. It kind of makes like a Master Chief helmet kind of design on the new one. Whereas,
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah, whereas before the mask kind of moved upwards to form like to cover like the nose area,
yeah.
but now it's
Sorry.
uncovered. So it
Speaking
has.
of
Holy
noses,
crap, though. That looks complex.
It does.
The mask.
Yeah.
I'm very,
I
very
still
proud
don't
of that.
mind it. It still holds that Miru-esque look. I like it.
Yeah,
speaking
it
of
looks
noses,
really nice.
It looks like Lewa has a giant nose on his head.
Oh
Like
yeah, the nostrils.
Like it's sticking out of his forehead, or like where his
Well, when you
receding
tell-
hairline would be.
When you're toe of air, you gotta smell.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, I mean Master of Jungle.
Wow.
But no, I like it. I still like the old one better, but I like this one very much.
Yeah, I do
More
too.
like-
I think this
Here's-
mirror looks really nice.
Here's a quiz for you,
Master
LJ.
of
Since we
hair.
compared Gali's Cow Cow to her, since we compared Gali's Cow Cow to her other versions, would you like this one better than the Nuva version?
The 2002 Nuva,
Yes.
way better.
What about
I
Fantoka?
really
I
did not
kinda
like
liked
the
it better than
2002.
The newer version too.
I really didn't like the 2002 Nuva,
What about the
and
Fantoka?
I like the 08 version. I did not mind the Axelar version. I still really love the 01 version, and I like this one a lot. It's my second favorite. Easy.
I think this one's definitely a bit more natural progression from the 01 than the Nuvo one was.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I also, just to finish up the changes, the mouthpiece itself is also changed a tiny little bit, where it now has a ring that forms around the entire circle. Before it was broken into two parts.
Interesting.
So it
But
looks
very
like
minor
all the-
changes. It's still very much the exact same mask. They just added a few little touch ups here and
Seems
there.
like all the masks are the main thing they changed.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is interesting.
And the final thing I want to point out about Lewa is his secondary color and how it's not lime, but instead Keat orange. Now, I had a theory as to why this is, and everyone else here, I think except Meso, but I don't know if he does think this, thought I was stupid.
We think that normally though. So.
Thanks. I think that the reason he has Mata green and Keat orange are because those are the color of fall leaves. That was my personal theory.
Okay.
I personally think they're
Well.
jungle colors.
No, it wasn't that I didn't think you were stupid because I disagreed with you. I thought you were stupid because you literally went out, brought a leaf back into your house, and showed it to us on Skype. And was like, guys, look, it's Lewa. That was stupid.
First of all,
that's what I was.
I didn't
like,
randomly
whoa.
go and find a leaf. I found 2 leaves. Second of all, they were at work. Those 2 colored leaves reminded me exactly of Lewa.
Oh, God. Anyway,
you do
but yes,
know
no.
that there's no evidence for seasons in Mod Nui. Like
Yes,
they
but
have
This
regions
is
which
a
are always
reboot.
cold.
We don't know.
Plus,
Yeah,
he's not saying like real world seasons. He's not. I mean, like not Motunui seasons. He's saying just the designers may have been inspired.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah.
they definitely were. I think these colors are meant to match leaves.
I mean,
more
it's
so
his
than-
jungle now, so that is a natural progression where
Yeah.
it's, matching nature
Exactly.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yes.
Let's move on from Lewa, and let's
All right,
discuss
It was great.
Pohatu.
the person that most people did not like, and now not much has changed, but for
He
some
looks
reason,
so much better though.
such
He
is
really
the magic
does.
of finalized CGI. I love Pohatu. He's pretty.
Yeah, Pohatu looks great.
If I had one thing I would change, I would maybe give him a little more brown, but that's just me.
Definitely, I think like the lack of brown on him is the only thing that makes me kind of consider the set not as good as the others.
I have
Just
to
because
wonder.
he looks so like stale and robotic because so much of him is silver. If they had switched the colors, I wouldn't mind that.
Here's what
Like,
I'm gonna do.
if all the silver
I'm
colors were
gonna.
brown and all the brown colors were
Here's
silver.
what I'm gonna do. I'm going to move his upper, his like shoulder armor on his upper right arm, his arm. I'm gonna make that silver, and bring that piece over to his lower left arm. To give him
That's what
more,
I was thinking about doing too.
more even brown coverage. Thankfully, they give you the parts to do that if you so choose.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
the color scheme's a bit weird with the trans yellow, but I kind of like it.
I like it. I didn't like it at first. Looking at the finalized CGI, looks better. His brown is hard to place. I can't really tell what shade of brown it is. It could very well be Mata brown and just intense lighting, but I don't think it is.
I feel like it's dark flesh.
I think it's Hookie McTorin, dark orange.
Yeah, it's either that
It
or
does look
dark
dark orange.
flesh, like Oniwa Metru's brown. You know what I
Ottawa
mean?
Metru?
Seems brighter than that.
I don't.
Ottawa.
That's
not
Metru
not
brown.
confident in dark orange, but I can definitely see the similarities. Only reason I'm not confident on that is just it looks a bit different in the preliminary that we got before,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming they didn't change the color. So I think it's just the lighting makes it look brighter.
Well, on another note, holy crap, does that Kakama look like faithful or what?
Okay,
I like
yeah.
it. I love it.
I feel like the Kakama is probably the Kakama and the Akaku are the 2 most faithful masks of them all.
And oh,
Oh no. Well, the Hal used to be pretty faithful.
it was.
Right,
This
we'll
one
get
looks- I
to that
can
later.
instantly
We'll get
recognize
to it
Yeah,
later.
shut up.
We're building.
We're
We're
going
building
to get to that,
suspense.
please.
We
I
gotta.
know,
We're not gonna
I'm
talk
just-
about it now. We have to build a little more
I'm building
suspense
suspense
first.
up to it too. The
No, you
Kakama
talk
is
too much.
very good
Yeah, shut up, dude.
in terms of like how recognizable.
Just
it
shut
is.
up. You're done now.
You had your chance and you blew it.
Yeah, the Kakama definitely it looks like a it looks like a Kakama. It looks just like the old Kakama, a little bit different. Obviously, added the new kind of stylistic design that they've chosen with all the mask. The only thing, and I've said this outside of call, the only thing I dislike are the 2 air vents on the side of his face, like right next to his eyes.
Yeah,
It gives the Kakama like a bigger shape, but it also takes away that original Kakama shape that it used to have. And
right.
if it didn't have that, it would look perfect.
The 2
Yeah.
vents kind of make it look like he has this helmet that goes around his face, as opposed to it being like cheek extensions.
Exactly.
Which I guess you could say, objectively, that cheek extensions are just as ridiculous as like a helmet over his face, but it ties in with the original feel more, the original design.
Yeah.
His
I like-
boomerangs are very interesting.
I love them because they can
I like
ratchet.
his boomerangs.
They're 2 pieces that you click on to each other, and they can ratchet and move up and down. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, really? That is really cool, actually. I didn't know that.
Yeah, clicks on in the middle.
Yeah, I can see that now. So,
This
yeah.
dude, he has like the most classic Bionicle parts out of anybody. The yellow Borak eyes and the Gurok staff randomly on his back for no apparent reason. I thought it was a
And the-
modeling error on the old when I really did.
And the hands, technically, right? Weren't those hands used in
No.
Kaltorian?
No.
Or are those different
No,
hands?
those are the Hero Factory ones.
Okay.
5-fingered instead of 4.
Well, the gear too. The gear was from was.
That's just a Technic gear. It's not
It's just-
Bionicle.
well, it was,
always
it was
been
still
tech.
used in Bionicle. Oh, we've had this argument before, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? Those pins were used in Bionicle too.
But no, I like Pohatu and his background. Well,
He's got the best artwork of them all, I think. I really like this. It shows that he has power. First of all, we knew they're called masters of their elements at this point, right? But we didn't really know what that translated to. But right now, we can clearly see Pohatu is manipulating his element right now.
Right.
And that does have some story relevance because LJ mentioned before, not in call, but that prior to this, neither Anua or Pohatu could control sand.
That is true.
And
There was a debate, right? Like, is sand like part of the earth, or is it really little rocks?
mhm.
And
And-
like none of them, they couldn't really.
here we
decide on.
clearly see Pohatu is manipulating the sand. Also cactuses, which weren't in Po.
Oh yeah, cacti.
So
Also, I know
Practices.
there's something that just stood out to me, but I think I might have heard it be mentioned before. LJ, do you want to? I guess I've probably heard it from you, but
yeah, I mentioned it too. LJ, definitely your shtick. I think we should wait till LJ's analysis though.
Yeah.
okay, fair enough.
Let's do it.
I like
yeah.
boomerangs. I really like boomerangs as Pohatu's weapon. They seem to fit him really well as a character. Or, I mean, the character
Yeah.
he used to be. I don't know about
I
the
also-
character.
I also think it really fits with the imagery of him like making this like sandstorm spiral tornado
Right.
thing.
I can see him doing like sandstorm tornado. I guess boomerangs do kind of fit Lewa as well. I could see him using that, to create tornadoes of wind. But originally, Pohatu just had his he was just there and he had a rock.
Yeah,
and that was his
I'm
weapon.
really glad Pohatu
So-
has a dedicated weapon now.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
you can
He
identify him.
always got the short end of the stick when it came to weapons, so
He
it's
got
really
the
nice.
cl-
if
like he got
something.
those weird claws, and when he
Yeah,
got was
they had
Nuva.
those dumb claws, and then he had,
Right.
like,
And then he didn't even get weapons when
rotation.
he came back in 08. He just had rotors.
It's
Well, I mean,
rotors.
technically, this could technically be the evolution of those rotors as boomerangs, because
It's rotors.
Nah, that's stupid, Kai.
I don't know.
The
like it.
trans yellow, man. That actually
Trans
looks
yellow.
a lot better now
Yeah,
than
looks
it
nice.
did before.
Him and Gali, I think also they've got solid color schemes. I was saying Gali had solid color scheme. I think Pohatu also has. His color distribution isn't as good as Gali's, because like Meso already mentioned a fix for it, but I think the colors themselves are very solid. I'd also like to point out that there are two different forms of skull spiders as well. This one has a tail, a stinger.
It's
So
a skull scorpion.
exactly, it's more scorpion-like. So I find that interesting.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Man, I would have liked if Pohatu's feet were brown. I think that would have
Me
been a nice fix.
I wish
Or
just all the
his
Toa had
stance.
proper
I like-
colored feet.
I like the feet I like the feet are gray because it looks like he's wearing boots.
Mm.
It also makes his legs look really armored. But yeah.
I guess that's true. The boot idea does. stand
Actually, now that you mention it, having his legs armored kind of makes sense for his
Yes.
old character.
well.
Yeah,
That's
no,
true.
you're right. He has the most leg coverage out of anybody except Kopaka.
I don't know why his arms should be, a different. They shouldn't all be that. I guess his one arm should not be all silver.
Yeah.
But his legs do make sense. Maybe it's for his throwing arm for his boomerang. I don't know.
Yeah,
All right.
But he throws them with both.
yeah, LJ.
I know.
All day is your time to shine. Go.
All right. Pohatu as a whole looks really good in comparison to its prior iterations. Personally, I think the brown here is the burnt orange that Huki had, which actually makes a
You're
lot of
stupid.
sense makes a lot of sense. If you take into consideration it's a mix of brown and the orange he had from 08.
Nah.
I think that makes a nice balance. It's still brown more than orange, but it's a mixture. Now, he's also using the new piece on his back, and unfortunately, he doesn't really have something to cover up the open ball joints. And he's using the piece on his back also in a new way. Instead of using a gear or a ball joint, he is using that little end cap piece that we saw on the backs of the toe mats as gear system.
Oh, the bushing part?
What
Yeah,
now?
I noticed that. It's called a bushing. I
Yeah.
Okay,
believe.
yeah, that thing.
Which unfortunately it
thing is-
makes him the most generic out of all of them in terms of attachment. But oh well.
Indeed, it does.
Shut up, myself.
Now, the other thing of note is, the Gurok staff on his back, which may have some part to play in A, covering his back like back armor, and B, possibly attaching the weapons he's wielding to his back. Because he does have that ratchet system on his boomerangs, and I'm a little bit curious as to what peg piece is connecting them. Now, it could be the really short, dark gray one, or it could be a standard black peg piece, which would lead credence to them going on his back. And I think it's the black ones, the standard black peg pieces, because if you look at the bottom of his boomerang in his left hand, all right, you can see a little bit of the peg piece, or what may be the peg piece. It may not be,
Yeah.
but that's just a guess. Now, I find it interesting that they're using transparent yellow. I have no idea what that's supposed to entail whatsoever, unless it's a suggestion to the fact he can control sand. Maybe it's a kind of a nudge to emeralds in rocks, or minerals
Maybe,
in
yeah.
rocks.
Because emeralds are green, yeah.
Yeah, well.
Fair point. My apologies. Minerals is what I was trying to
Yeah,
say.
you better apologize.
Yeah, I will. Thanks. Anyway, the boomerangs are
I
definitely interesting.
I know exactly what not emerald,
Hmm?
mineral would be, that color yellow, but I forgot the name of it. It's like it makes like a smell if you burn it or something. I remember that. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Now, the transparent yellow, again, it's really interesting. It works with his eyes really well, and it also eliminates the possible con of the yellow gear in his back, which you can also see very clearly in this image, because they're both a shade of yellow. One's just transparent and the other is solid. One thing I'm very interested in regards to the legs, to my knowledge, I forget the Onua prelim right now, but to my knowledge, Pohatu is the only one to have those new shell armor pieces, the ones that look like Matatorsos, being used upside down on his legs. You look at all the other Toa, when they're on the legs, they're right side up. His are upside down.
Yep, you're correct about that.
Which-
Anua, the prelim, is flipped the other way.
Yep.
Which would mean we know Pohatu has a little bit of a thing with having certain things turned upside down. Torso.
I see what you're getting at there.
That may
There we
be a possible homage. I don't know.
Yeah, especially since these are the new torsos for the defenders, and they look like the old Mata torsos.
That's funny.
That is kind of funny, actually. I wonder if that was an intentional nod or not.
Perhaps.
I would place money on that.
Then just
Yeah,
got out of the
Katama
way.
looks good. I pretty much agree with whatever you said, Var, in regards to the flaps near his eyes, the vents.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do find it interesting he's controlling sand and it's sort of tornado. I did a double check to make sure I wasn't an idiot. And yeah, Toa of Stone nor Toa of Earth can control sand. The only ones in old Bionicle canon who were able to wield it were the Element Lord of Sand, Devastator, and a certain type of Vaki.
Devastator from Transformers?
Shout out to Revenge of the Fallen.
Just say, for the record, the mineral you're thinking of is sulfur, and I linked a picture to it in the chat.
Yeah, sulfur.
not-
That's what it was.
There we go. Yeah, you can see it's bright yellow.
Yeah, it's
And-
exactly like that yellow.
Right.
Oh yeah.
There
Sulfur.
you go. So that may be credence to that. Now then Skull Scorpion, which Ben, you made a very great observation there.
Yeah, it's funny. I was about
Name.
to say Pohatu gained a piece from the prelims, but then it's just the tail. The
Yeah,
skull
she's a tail.
spider.
But yeah, the sulfur definitely makes sense. It also leads more credence to the leaves, LJ. It would make sense that the art team paid attention to the elemental side of these characters and really wanted to bring in elements of real life into their designs. So that definitely makes sense, and that they would want to add like a sulfur color to it. And especially since we know that they have a team of concept artists working on this, that makes complete sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so. Now, the background is extraordinarily telling for this particular character and general story details. Now, not really what the story's going to be, but the setting. We can see as cacti. He's in the desert, off to the mountains. Now, that doesn't really tell us anything in
Alden,
particular.
you're
If we're
lagging a
looking at
little
it
bit.
as a
Please
rebooted
repeat.
Matsui, for fun's sake,
Start from the cacti.
tell me when I'm done lagging.
You stopped.
Oh, cool. Background: desert, cacti, mountains off to the left. If we're looking at it as a rebooted Nui, that may be a mountain leading up to the Mount volcano. If it's a continuation on Spherus Magna, it's whatever. We have absolutely no idea. If it's something completely new, it tells us nothing. Off to the right, we see some sort of temple. Now, that could also be a Kini, similar to what Gali was nearby, or if we want to look at it from a continuation standpoint, New Atero, because it's very temple-like and has the spires. Not exactly like the Atero arena, but same general look and location.
Yeah.
In the sky, however, is where things get the most interesting. We see there's one sun and two celestial bodies. There are two moons in the sky above Pohatu. That is the weirdest thing in the world. Now, you might be saying, well,
Probably a wizard.
sci-fi things have two moons, like Star Wars or Star Wars. But we know Bionicle has an affinity for two moons, considering
Two suns.
Bar Magna, Boat Magna.
Two.
Well, no, I mean two moons, because Aqua Magna and Bota Magna were the two moons to Bara Magna.
Right. I was also just alluding to like the fact that they had the two suns thing and Metro Nui for the eyes of Monadnock.
Oh yeah, that too. But interestingly enough, we only see one here, or what appears to only be one. So what those two are is very interesting. A continuation solely based off of there being two moons. They tell us nothing. They're just very intriguing to keep in mind.
Well,
Yeah.
It can't be a continuation in that sense, could it? Because aren't the two moons free-formed into the Spherus Magna? Isn't the whole point?
Oh,
So there wouldn't be two moons anymore.
Unless they got separated somehow.
That'd be incredibly stupid.
That'd be like, okay, so we had this great ending. Let's undo that because reasons.
There's also nothing saying that there aren't other planets. I mean, we saw other planets in the intro to Legend Reborn, so.
No, they're gonna pull a. Well, actually, the intro was completely non-canon.
I know. I'm just saying, but and this could also just be a completely artistic choice and nothing
that's
real. But
nothing more.
From what we know about Bionicle in the past and what we can assume from the concept art we've gotten now, it seems like they're putting a lot of thought not only into the characters, the sets themselves, but also the lore. So it would make sense that they would have things like locations kind of thought out in advance.
Yeah. Now, finally, the last thing you said, Kahi, you brought up a really good point. Actually, I really don't have anything else to say, but moons, let's say, for instance, hypothetically, jokingly, it's a continuation of Spherus Magna. There are two moons, one's closer than the other. Obviously, LEGO Story Team trying to one-up Legend of Zelda series. They're trying to have not one, but two moons crash into the planet. And it's up to the Toamata to use the Golden Kanohi and the Mask of Creation to stop them.
Wow.
Did you know? That must mean the Toa are dead.
They're
Shout out to
ghosts.
Game
That's a
Theory.
terrible fate, haven't they?
Yeah,
They're
shout out to
ghosts.
Game Theory. Also, shout out to Ben Drowned. Anyway.
Okay, so
I'm
now
done.
That's
No.
but yeah.
The how drowned.
Oh, the old Hal drowned. The new Hal was replaced with. Okay, sorry. Got abducted by aliens.
All right, let's move on.
I think that like, oh, it's fine. Okay.
We're like, yeah, we need to move on. So the next smallest set is Lord of Skull Spiders, but should we finish the Toa first?
We'll do Lord of Skull Spiders last.
Okay. In that
No,
case,
no, no. We were gonna do.
No, no.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I guess we'll do Tahu last. Let's move separate the small sets from the large sets.
all right, Lord of Skull Spiders, $15 set. His part count has remained unchanged.
I know.
However, we have a nice look at him, and this is a big deal, his parts count. Even if most of them are small pieces, which they totally are, because he has a Technic build, 145 pieces for a $15 set is
all those
insane and
pieces.
unheard of for any set ever in construction, I believe. It may be the highest part per price ratio ever. Don't quote me on that, because I don't know. But that is a big deal. And he looks to be entirely Technic built with armor add-ons only coming on the limbs and torso covering. And he clearly has a gear, so he's function driven.
Yeah, he's got a gear. If you can't see it, there's a gear on the right side of his body, our left, right by the legs, at the side of his face there.
Yeah, so he's got some kind of he's very Technic built. He's built with Technic in mind, because his legs are Technic beams as well in trans red, which is pretty cool. I don't know. I'll let you guys do your
I
observations.
know that looks like trans orange, but okay.
Yeah, it's trans orange.
2001 vibe for the Rahi going in, the functions and whatnot, which I love.
It's interesting that his final name is in fact Lord of Skull Spiders.
Yep, not Skull Karada.
Exactly.
So, what are you guys' observations?
That like chest printing, that's like his eyes and fangs and stuff. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's a little lame. I would have hoped that there'd be a bit more to the head, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
I don't really like the printed face either.
As far as the set goes, there really isn't much to say that we haven't really said already, because his design hasn't changed much since the prelims. I don't think at all, actually.
Not at all.
And he's a spider. I mean, I can't really analyze anything about him because I don't know his story relevance or anything, so it's hard to say like what all this means or what his role in Bionicle is, or
He does look to be like in a cavern somewhere deep, dark underground.
I would like to say that he probably is not our main villain for this year. I think he's probably just a servant of the main villain, because
Mask Maker.
maybe Mask Maker. I feel like Mask Maker might be a good guy if this is
Same.
it's a character.
Because
but
he keeps wearing the mask creation, so
right. But yeah, the reason I say that is if you go all the way back to the very initial display and the color display, there is an ominous figure in the background that isn't Skull Spider. So yeah.
The most interesting things with him are stuff that can't really be determined now, like his story relevance and his function, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
But we don't know the
at
function.
least we know that like there's something to that mask that he's protecting. There's something, because it's not one of the original Konohi. It's not
his
creation.
Konohi either.
Right. It's not his either. So whatever he's guarding, that's another important mask, and that means that they're ever kind of mask of power. They're bringing this full.
Now we do.
other theme back.
I know Elder had a theory about that, and I know there is another theory still floating around. We can discuss that once we're through with the sets, I guess. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. His color scheme is pretty solid, I guess. Orange and black. It's cool. There's not really anything that sticks out other than the yellow and maybe the white with the white bits. So he seems like a solid set currently. I didn't say much until I see him in person. So, or at least better pictures of him.
His success will depend on his function, because if it's something really cool, then hey, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any observations besides the mask stuff, which we'll cover later?
Observations about Lord of Skull Spiders. First of all, as far as the set goes, yes. Transparent orange and black seems to be the color scheme. His eyes are red, which will come into play later in regards to the red color. He does use red pins. He's one of the first few sets that we have seen so far, as far as finalized set pictures go, to have prominently displayed red pins. Don't know about the leg, like the joints, but definitely closer to his torso, he's using the red pins. But that's fine, though, because there's more red on him. He has a lot of white spikes for some reason. I'm not sure why. However, he has the fangs, which accent them nicely. As Var pointed out earlier, he does have that yellow gear off on our left and his right. That's a con. And it does lead to some sort of function. My guesses for the function are either his legs all go up, his torso raises, so he becomes taller, or the legs go back and forth. Or it's a spring system
Oh
where the
yeah,
legs will shoot up and down.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like, what if he has a jumping function?
Now, I can also tell that the torso is majorly elongated than what we're expecting, or at least most people are expecting. It's a weird shape because of those two transparent orange armor pieces off on the sides, but you can see the piece right behind that is a Hero Factory 2.0 torso piece. So he obviously
you're
has
right.
a long
He uses
torso.
a full-length torso on his back.
Exactly.
Yeah, I noticed that.
As
So
well,
his torso is long.
he also has a Technic handle, which shoots up and behind him. I don't know how long that actually is, but that is a handle, probably to help with the function.
Yeah, probably.
My other guess as to what the function is his head shoots forward. The reason I say this is because if you look at the direct top of that chest plate that acts as his head, you will see a little bit of red. Now, in my experience, random bits of red on a set, any bright color on a set normally indicates a button to be pressed or a function.
I know what that is, and it's not that.
I feel like it's just
his armor. The face attaches that piece with double pins, so it has to attach to an armor plate.
Yeah,
for it to work. So it's just a size 3 trans red armor plate. Like
I think it's trans orange.
But I don't think it is either. But that doesn't necessarily take away from what LJ just said, because I don't think that's orange. It looks red.
Well, I mean,
I think it's trans orange, and that the black behind it is just making it appear red. Yeah. I don't know. It could be red. I don't care. Either way, it could be part of the function.
It could be.
I guess you are right. I guess you are right, Ben, because if you look at the two trans orange pieces on the top of his head, it looks redder at the end there where it overlaps in the black. So you could be correct.
It's just the only reason I don't think it's part of his function is because that has to attach some way, and I theorize it attaches via a small bone joint from that torso. So in order, if the function was to have his head shoot out, then it would need to have the whole torso shoot out.
Which is another possibility, actually, considering his torso seems to be two different pieces, because he has that huge torso behind him and then his legs. However, the only issue is the gear is right where his legs are.
Yeah, that's
which is a weird place to put it if there is a handle on his butt.
Yeah.
Not really.
So
he could have multiple functions.
That'd be
very
cool.
possible.
This dude is like, for people saying they want Technic Bionicle sets. Well, here you go.
Yeah, this is really harkening back to 01 style right here.
Honestly, I can see myself already beginning to recommend getting this set, despite anything, unless the legs are unable to move.
Yeah.
But I would take yes and say they'll move fine. But yeah, elongated torso. As far as the background goes, yeah, he seems to be in a cavern, and the way it is blocky makes me believe that it was not created by hand or naturally formed. It looks to be formed by some sort of magical power.
Great being.
Possible. There's obviously a broken bridge, so whatever it is, it's old.
Yeah.
And became infested with these spiders.
Yep, considering they're cocoons.
Exactly.
Who are in the cocoons?
Don't know, but there's 4 of them.
Yeah. And finally, obviously, the mask. Now, I had a theory a little bit ago that the Mask of Creation had the ability to shapeshift in a similar fashion to the Ignika. This makes me believe more in that theory, considering it's the same, if not similar, swishy effects as the mask. And you can even see it in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah, it's not so much
the exact same shade of gold. It also has
Sorry.
It's the exact same shade of gold and the exact same blue hue, because all the other ones had different hues. So it's interesting that this one has the exact same. However, it could also just be another legendary mask. So that's hard to tell.
Yeah, so honestly, it's still up in the air, but I feel strongly in my theory. But I like that other theory too, so I may be wrong. But yeah, he's cool. Can't wait to get him.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting set.
He has potential to be one of my favorites, but he also has potential to be one of the weaker ones, so I don't know. We will see. But for now, we can move on to the larger Toa. And unfortunately, Onua's missing. Has been lamented at the beginning.
Where's Onua?
Yep.
So we're only going to be able to talk about Kopaka and Tahu, and we're going to do Kopaka first. So, without further ado, let's go. Kopaka. What's the deal with him?
Kopaka hasn't really changed much since the preliminaries. Really, the only difference now is that he's got printing on his armor. But he's looking pretty good. He's really bulky. That's interesting to note for me because I never really imagined Kopaka as much of a bulky character. But it's cool that he does have that bulkiness because he's different than the others. So I guess that's kind of cool. He does look really awesome. His shield, really cool. Really digging it. Not a fan of it being the same piece as Tahu's swords / lava board, but hey, whatever. It looks like he's gonna be able to use that in tandem with his spear as sort of a
Kind of like a Spartan.
kind of Spartan, yeah, like a Spartan style posing. It reminds me of who is that YouTuber who's gonna do that like gritty bionicle stop motion?
Oh,
Project
Little Brotherhood
Toa?
Studios.
Oh yeah,
Little
Little
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, Little Brotherhood Studios, they had a mock-up of their Kopaka that they were going to use for that stop motion, and it reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah, same here.
But yeah, and my thoughts of him is he's a really cool looking set. I think he's really solid. He's really awesome. Not sure how I feel about his lower legs. It looks cool from the front, but from the side, it looks really...
Somebody did a mock
Kinda
up of
sticks
how
out
it
a lot.
looks, and it like in real life, and it's atrocious. His legs can't even bend because of it, all that much. So it's not.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's going to be an issue with bending, isn't there? Yikes! It could be to keep him standing up because he might be a little top heavy.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah.
But yeah, also he's got Raja paws for his shoulders, which we discovered outside of call, which a little odd. Not sure how to feel about it.
I don't really like that. I mean, I already noticed that before. I was just kind of hoping that this wasn't the case, but man, it's like undeniable now.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be the Chima Ultra Build Fire versus Ice pieces, but alas, it was not to be.
Yeah. His Akaku still very much accurate. I would say that this is the most faithful mask of all of these sets. Most definitely. I don't think it's changed much or at all from the preliminary. I'm looking at it right now. I do not believe it has changed at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting to note since other masks have changed. But yeah, aside from that, I think those are my thoughts of the set. So
Kopaka's pretty self-explanatory. Not much to him. He's like one of the most complex, but he's also kind of you see what you get what you see, I guess.
Yeah, there's not really much to figure out about him.
The only thing that is a big mystery is his gear function, which we obviously know he has because everyone has it. So I'm wondering how his works because we really can't see it because it's all covered by his shoulder pads and his giant shield. So
yeah. Well,
his location is also very interesting, but we can get into the background analysis in a bit.
Yeah. I was hoping Kopaka would have like the circular shield, like I said before, because I feel like that fits what his character is a bit more. I'm not really a big fan of the giant shield that he has. But even still, it's a very nice set.
Yeah.
Shaping up to be very nice. I like that he has a spear instead of just another sword like Tahu has. I feel like it sets him apart.
I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that his hands are trans light blue.
Little weird, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Not sure how I feel about it.
I kind of like him, to be honest.
like ice.
But
it looks like his forearms are also trans blue.
As parts, they look nice, but as a part of the set and the way that they're used, it's kind of weird. Also, I want to talk about his torso.
It's like he's wearing icy gloves.
Okay, yeah, the torso. I think I know what you're gonna say. I'm with you, but go for it.
He has ice nipples.
Oh, that's
Oh.
not what I thought you were gonna say. I was gonna complain about how the brain attack
Guys,
torso is
guys.
silver instead of the white like we had prior.
It's like
assumed.
Alpha Kopaka got jealous of Omega Tahu's pecs.
Whoa there, Meso. You just blew my mind, and now I'm upset.
Me
Wait,
too.
what?
What
What did Meso just say?
The torso piece is silver.
Oh, right.
Oh my god. No.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I did not notice that.
So Kopaka has like the
Hmm.
least of his color out of like most of these sets, I think, because it's all either
no,
trans.
no.
Nah, not
It's
even.
definitely
He's got a
Pohatu.
lot of white, let's be honest here. But that is a little
Like-
odd.
I guess what I should have said was he has the most of the other colors. Like there's a lot more gold and trans blue on him than say Pohatu's trans yellow. Because
I guess
Pohatu
actually,
had
wait,
silver.
Blue always
hands.
seemed to go with Kopaka, not gonna lie.
It
Yeah.
did, but I don't know, man. I think Pohatu has more trans than this guy does.
Oh yeah, I guess I am counting the weapons, like the ice on his weapons.
Yeah, but that's only partially trans blue.
Very true.
Yeah. It's like, as I was saying, Alpha Kopaka got jealous of Omega Tahu's pecs, so he started doing some really crazy workouts, and now he has ice
Nice.
nipples.
And he stole his weapon too.
Oh yeah.
Turned it into a shield,
Turned
painted it
into a
white.
shield. Yeah.
Yep. But I don't like that it's silver. But I should have expected like I wouldn't want to recolor too many torso pieces.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. We'll have to see what that looks like in person, because, geez, I don't know.
Dude,
That's quite a color breaker right there.
it is. Especially
also-
it's torso. It's not just like any old piece.
Now, there is something that I just need to point out.
Mm.
It's regarding the background.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because this also goes back to what we were talking about with the two moons, how it could just be an artistic choice. Because here we can clearly see there's a bit of a interesting creature in the background. Now, initially I thought it was Lord of Skull Spiders, and it could be just a concept of Lord of Skull Spiders. I'm not sure, but it doesn't look very biomechanical. It looks. It doesn't look like it's using pieces or robotic at all. It looks pretty organic.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that thing is freaking creepy. Whatever it is. You can hardly see it too. Like you wouldn't even notice it unless someone told you.
Yeah,
Honestly,
and it's
I
not a
didn't
skull
notice that
spider.
before.
And looking at the other guys, it looks like it's present in every other artwork.
You know.
Could be
Oh
Lord
my
of
God.
Spiders. Could
He's
it
It's
like
just-
the Slender Man.
Yeah, it's just a
Of
bit. It's a bit more hidden,
Bionicle.
but I
Huh.
feel like it's there in every one.
Welp. That's very interesting.
Except for Skull Spider, though.
Maybe it is
Lord of
just
Skull.
him. Maybe it's an artistic
Yeah.
representation.
Yeah, that's what it might just be him, and it's artistically changed. But yeah, it's interesting that that's there. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about Kopaka. So.
Okay. LJ, what are your
I
thoughts?
want to bring.
Oh, okay. Kai, you go first.
I want to bring something to mention real quick. On the tower, you notice how all the icicles are put out to the side? Like they've all been like there's a sandstorm or ice storm or something.
Yeah.
You can
That
see
is
this.
a little interesting.
It's a little interesting because normally, as everybody knows that icicles hang down. They don't usually come out from the side. They don't protrude off the side of buildings. You know. So that's something interesting to note. I don't really know what kind of story significance it has. It's just some artistic vision.
Yeah, I think it's just because the wind is blowing that direction.
Also, the
But it's-
pillars have the mask of creation symbols.
Yes, they do, and so do all the pillars and all the other artwork too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, interesting.
You know what sucks? Is upper
Yeah,
leg
what?
armor is probably going to be stickers.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be stickers.
Eh.
Honestly, I really hope it's stickers because I don't like printed pieces, but that's
Mm.
just me.
I wouldn't mind either way. I think it's actually really nice, whatever it is, stickers or
I like having the
Let's see.
option of removing it if I want to.
yeah, same. But
Yeah.
as an aesthetic on Kopaka's set, I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. LJ, what are your thoughts on Kopaka?
Oh, here we go.
Very interesting, very large. Definitely different from any iteration we've ever gotten of him. I agree that his Kanohi mask is definitely the most accurate out of all of them. The upper right telescope is almost exactly the same as his 2001 Akaku. Almost to a T, which I find very interesting. The modifications would be in the lower mask and little vents on his forehead.
Yep.
He also has less detail on the left side of his face. Overall, Kopaka seems very bulky, unusually bulky. The legs look really awkward, lower legs do at least. The back also looks really square due to the back armor, along with the combination of the paw pieces on his shoulders. However, I don't necessarily dislike the choice of the shoulder armor, because he's in a nice area. It makes him look like he has a lot of fluffy, like a really fluffy coat on. Like he's Russian.
Okay.
However, I fear that they're going to get in the way of whatever gear function he has. I also agree this. I bet it will. The spear is a nice choice for Kopaka. Don't know how to feel about the shield. He also is the first one to predominantly use a blue pin. However, he gets away with it because he has a lot of light blue and it blends in very nicely.
You and the blue pins.
He probably also uses a red pin on the spear, which sears his color scheme, but I cannot be sure about that. But yeah, I like the spear. However, the spear tip seems a little bit generic.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued to see what they connected his shield to. It's connected to some transparent blue piece, but I have no idea what.
Probably just another hand.
His hand, yeah. Tilted
Yeah,
inside.
probably.
Because if you look at the hand using the spear, it's also transparent blue. So.
Yeah, true, but it looks larger.
Could be.
Well, his forearms are also trans blue too.
I suppose. I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced yet, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, his lower legs are definitely really unusual. Also, silver skull spider, which I find interesting. Also, yeah, I did not even notice that creature in the background until you guys pointed it out. That is weird.
It's very unsettling.
As far as the background goes, this temple looks to be a lot different than the ones we've seen prior. Specifically, the one off to the right, considering it looks like a bionicle version of Stonehenge.
Huh.
But, whatever. Fudge. Snowstorm. Also, Kahi, as far as the icicles go, the toe of ice is here. I can see him accidentally freezing it or something.
Accidentally? He's supposed to be a master.
Yeah, well, even masters make mistakes.
Maybe he was in the middle of a battle in this area, and then he shot ice at
With
whatever
the
he was
Bionicle
fighting.
Slender Man. Man, that guy, that's kind of creepy how he's like stalking every finalized.
Yeah,
image.
no, really, look at all the artwork. He's in the backgrounds of all of them.
Very interesting. Finally, Kopaka's torso. Yeah, I swear I'm a little bit saddened you guys pointed out the silver, because I was going to try and do that, but no, Meso. You did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed it's silver. It is, aside from his weapon and the skull spider, the only silver piece we see here, which is hilarious, because it breaks the color scheme like an icicle.
Ugh.
That was
Anyway.
really not funny.
Anyway, the
That didn't
torso.
even make sense.
I think I know what those torso the little white spots on the torso are. Their
Nipples.
eyes. Their eyes looking off to the right. His right, our left.
Wow.
They're glaring at the creature behind him.
You are now giving us the imagery of nipples staring back at us. Please stop it.
See, it looks like a face, like that little round spot at the bottom. of
No,
that-
It's like a
Sticky,
mouth.
Stop.
and like he has eyebrows. He has two faces.
I can't say I'm a fan of these like chest prints. They look really
I
weird.
can't really say I am either.
I
But
just like
at the
them
same
all
time,
for different reasons than you guys.
Yeah, I
at
like
the same
them all
time,
too.
I get it. Like they, we wanted some more detailing in Bionicle, and this is what they chose to give us.
I feel like
so.
they're a bit too cartoony though. Like there's black
That
outlines.
was, yeah,
and
that was the
everything.
thing. The black outlines are what take it away. If it weren't meant to look like they were drawn on, I'd like them a lot better.
Pohatu and his scribble.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to point out about the new Akaku,
Mm.
I do believe this might be the first version of the Akaku where he actually has 2 eyes.
Yes, you are actually 100%. Well, I'd say you're right about that. People would say there's a little bit of a technicality there with the 08 Akaku, but I'm going to say no because the eye did not go all the way through. So I say you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because you can see like the hole there, so you'll be able to see the color of his eye stalk. So
Exactly, and I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a faithful Kopaka to a degree. Really bulky. I don't understand why. I'm really eager to review it because I can already tell what cons I'm going to give it, but it looks intimidating as beans.
he looks cool.
Definitely. Yes, it. Okay, pun not intended.
Wow. I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize it. Oh god, I'm ashamed of myself.
So, good job, Lego, but them legs.
They deserve
Hey,
no
them
praise
legs,
for
though.
that.
I think I'm the only person that doesn't mind the legs.
You
I
will.
don't
Yeah,
like
I
them
don't mind
either.
the legs either.
You
I think
will
they're a
when
little
you
odd.
see its limited posability.
I
But
don't know. I think they look cool. So fuck.
It's the base of the set, and I'm all about that base. So.
wow, guys, it's all about the base.
Wow, all
Okay.
about that base. Anyway, so it's time. It's time.
No.
It's time for terror.
Oh god.
Prepare for trouble and make it double.
We saved
What did they do to you?
we saved the worst for
Yeah,
last.
why did they do to you?
You were so perfect before.
You were
You
the
were my
chosen
first-
one, Tahu.
You were my favorite.
I don't know. It's very
You were
mind.
supposed to save Bionicle 2015, not join. Oh, okay, well.
Destroy it.
It's
Yeah.
very puzzling. This is the most puzzling thing out of any of the sets, hands down. The changing of Tahu's how. I do not. I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. At
The thing
all.
that really gets me is that from what we've seen of most of the preliminaries that we've had, generally pretty much everything's been final. They changed a few things here and there and maybe fixed a few of the CGI rendering stuff, and that's okay. And we pointed that stuff out. But Tahu, they went in and they completely redesigned this how. The only thing it's retained is the top U-shape portion of his head.
Even that was altered slightly. It made it less
And-
smooth.
Yeah, and it's bizarre because clearly those preliminaries were pretty final stage.
Yeah.
They were probably the last stage before they made these final things. So it's weird that they would change the how so late in the game. And the worst part about it is the one they had was more faithful.
That's the thing. It's not like they changed it. It was the original was so good.
Yeah,
Like, I mean-
I had some issues with it because it was a little square, but
Yeah, I didn't
it
like
was
the
much better
square,
than
but-
this.
Yeah, the original. Okay, I guess not original, but the how that we saw in the preliminaries definitely looked a lot more faithful to the very original iteration of the how that we've seen from 01 and onward. That was the mask that you'd see in Bionicle marketing. That mask was everywhere, so it is so odd that they decided to make it look a lot more different from what they already had.
Yeah,
And gosh, it's
weird. And the fact that it's just we've had the same how this entire time. All these leaks. Oh, actually, Vin, you did point out something earlier that we'll mention in a second, but it's really confusing. But yeah, it's just weird that we've seen the same how used for practically everything all up until now, and all of a sudden they just changed it. It's odd.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's like it looked fine. Everything else pretty much stayed the same except for this, and it's like you said, last minute. But man, I mean, I would understand if they made like a little change to it, but
got
this is
radically
a big
overhauled.
change. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it got
is
completely redesigned.
And you know, I
quite
guess the
odd.
thing about it is that it wouldn't have been as bad had this been the first version we saw.
Yeah.
I don't think
Now,
we would have been disappointed.
Yeah.
okay, so I do need to point this out because Vin made a great point outside of the recording, and if you this is so confusing and a little mind blowing because it's really hard to pinpoint the timeline of anything anymore. If you go back to that very, very, very first display we got, the black and white one, the very first one we saw. Now, on the top of the display, where Tahu's reaching out for the mask, that is clearly the first How we saw. However, if you look at the Tahu set, the box art on the display itself, it's using this How.
Or at least it looks like it is, because the position of the gold How is pretty much the same as it is on the black and white one, where
I
it's
gotta go
facing
find this black
completely,
and white when I forget where I put it.
where it's facing completely forward, whereas the one in the colored prelim that we got was like kind of off facing to the side. So that's kind of what made me see it. Also because the shape of this How was a lot more similar to the black and white How.
Yeah, the way it's facing, because it's kind of facing, it's facing in the same direction, but the shape of the mask is a bit rounder. And I remember noticing that the first time we saw the color display was that the How looked different.
Right.
So it's really, really weird, because that means that the black and white display might have been more finalized than the colored display.
You know,
Right.
you're completely right. That is the black and white one. What on
That,
earth?
or it's like
Wait a second.
that, or
Did-
it's like they were having trouble deciding on which How they wanted to use.
Yeah.
And then they decided on this one like last minute. It was like, oh,
Last minute, they were
hey
like, let's
Mac, you
change
still
it.
got that concept art or the other one? Yeah, I think we're gonna use that one instead.
What guy?
I was saying, I thought the black and white one and the colored one were the exact same ones.
No.
No, look at it. Look at it.
I mean,
I
hey,
did-
they
I
could
did too.
but
But I noticed, because I remember noticing, because I remember before we got the color display, we couldn't tell who that person was originally. We thought it was Tahu because he was lava surfing, but I remember some people speculated that was the Anika that character was wearing. Turns out it was the How because we got the color display afterwards and we could confirm it was the How. But back then it had a different shape because people were speculating it looked like an Anika.
That's true. Yeah. Now I think about it, people wouldn't have speculated that if we got the one.
If we had the original one, yeah, because it looks
Right.
it's a completely
It looks-
different shape.
Yeah.
yeah, and I the only reason why I noticed this is because I saved all these images that we have now, these clear pictures, and as I was going through the folder that I saved them in, and I saw like their thumbnails, the thumbnails of the pictures, and I saw the thumbnail for the Tahu picture, and that really, I don't know, it made me think like, that looks,
And it's also worth noting that in the preliminaries that we got with the Ignika, you can tell the Ignika is kind of jumping out of the border at the top there. It's large and on its own plane. Whereas you look at these new finalized pictures and the Mask of Creation smaller, takes up less space, and it's kind of a big bright spot, I guess. If you look at the black and white display, that looks closer to what we can see now. It looks like that might be the Mask of Creation, that white splotch in the side there. I feel like if it was the Ignika from the preliminaries, we'd be able to make that out.
I don't even know what's true anymore. What is
yeah,
Right?
man.
This is so confusing.
Is 2 + 2 4 or is it 22? I don't know.
Because what this means is that the black and white display is newer than the colored display. And that's what boggles my mind.
But how does that make sense? They're supposed to be the same displays.
Well, they weren't the same.
Why would
they
he-
were,
well, why would-
they were different displays from the start. The shape was different, and it was missing a bunch
I know,
of.
but I mean, like, I guess, like, why would when the color picture was taken, it was taken from the same thing. Originally, as what I thought of the old one.
Yeah.
So why would
I thought that the color display was the evolution of the black and white one. Like,
Right.
it was a more finalized one because it looked different. But they're two
well,
different things.
I don't know. Actually, when I was making the comparison, I was actually comparing the black and white display to the prelim picture of Tahu, but I actually completely forgot about the colored display. And I'm looking at it now, and I still see the front-facing How that we have now.
Now it's even more confusing because I have no clue what is what anymore.
Link those if you can.
At some point during this display, they had a finalized Tahu artwork where they had the mask facing forward, and then they had another one where the mask was facing towards the side with... No, okay. They had one where the mask was facing forward with the old Howl.
Right.
Then they had one where the mask was facing to the side with the old Howl. And now we have a new one where he's got a new Howl and the mask is facing forward again.
This is man. I'm sorry, viewers, but this is one confusing.
There's the color display for reference on the black and white.
But actually, now that you mention it, on the color display, honestly, to me, that Howl on the color display looks more like the one we can see now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying now.
Let me see.
Which I guess does technically make sense because we always assumed that, or at least I did, that the artwork up top was really early. If we were to believe that that mask and the Mask of Creation are the same mask, it would have to be really early. But so that mask that Tahu was wearing would have to be the most outdated.
Because I remember thinking that when we got the colored display picture, that Tahu's How in his box art looked a little different in shape from the one in the display, or the big cover art where he's reaching for the mask.
Yeah, I think that's just like very out of date. It has to be.
It has to be. Yeah, looking at the color display and the high res one here, I'll link that. The mask facing forward, the golden one, is very clearly the new mask we've just received today. It is very clearly that same mask, not the original Howl that we saw before, the one that was square.
Welp.
Which means Tahu at the top of the display is wearing a different mask than the one at the bottom. Really, really weird.
Yeah. Aldo, I know you BRB'd. Have you been here for any of our revelations?
No.
Oh.
Well, basically, the Tahu's How situation is the most confusing thing ever.
It's
like
hard it's hard to pinpoint the timeline of when
we're not even sure which How was their original intended How, because the one that we have now looks a lot like the one that we've seen in the colored display and the black and white display, or at least in the set. But then when you look at the artwork part of the display, you'll notice that he has the more faithful design of the How.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's kind of mixed up, and at some point around that time, they also changed Gali's artwork completely as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I knew about Gali's artwork change.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying that also adds to the weird trying to figure out the timeline of this change.
Yeah, because we were discussing which really came first, the black and white display or the colored display.
The chicken or the egg? Which one?
I'm just wondering which came first, the displays, because I feel like they really are the same thing, or the prelim.
Yeah.
Well, the prelims definitely came first.
I'm thinking, the prelim probably did come first.
Here's my timeline. Here's my proposed
That more
timeline.
faithful How. Hey, shut up.
I have
the more faithful How was probably the very original one, and those prelims were from a long, long, long time ago.
They had to have been very early.
Yeah,
and
this is my.
They only just recently surfaced on the internet, but those display pictures happened a lot later.
You're right. It has to be because if the prelims we got, they're obviously early because they have the Ignica. And they have no backgrounds. The display image at the top has to be early as well because it uses that old How, and it has that weird mask that we haven't seen yet, which I believe was prototype for the Mask of Creation at this point. That's what I believe is true. And then the actual sets on the display are later than both of those.
Right.
That's the new timeline.
All right. That
So
starting to
with-
make sense.
So with that said, back-
We've had this new Hal for a while now. We just didn't know it.
right.
Yep.
And this, going back to this Tahu set, I guess that means we are getting this new How after all,
That is
Yep.
correct.
without a doubt.
I wonder how the set designers felt the moment these sets leaked online and people were talking about how great the How was, and they're like, "Oh boy!" Wait till they
Man,
find
is it
out.
too late to go back to that? Guys, we might have screwed up.
Like, can you
Ooh.
imagine knowing this and not being able to say anything because non-disclosure agreements?
Ah.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, back to Tahu himself.
We
Yeah.
spent like 15
Yeah.
minutes talking about the mask. We haven't commented on this set at all.
We're gonna have to cut out quite a bit of that.
Oh, I'm not cutting
No, I
out
don't think we
anything.
cut it out.
I'm
No,
Are you
no,
sure?
it's-
That was a good
discussion.
discussion.
Are
Yeah.
you sure? Because I felt like some of it was a little jibber jabber, but hey, it's
It
okay,
was.
I guess.
Trans man.
I liked it.
All right. Anyway,
But yeah, so the set itself, he hasn't really, aside from the Hal, he hasn't really changed much from the preliminaries we got prior, and he was one of the ones we were able to see the most of as well, so kind of commented a lot in that. But I think overall, he is still a very, very solid set. How aside, I think he still is one of the better ones, in my opinion, and he's still probably going to be one of the first ones I get. Let's be honest, he's
Yeah.
Tahu. I love Tahu.
yeah,
But-
same here.
Yeah, I mean, he's cool. I do notice with this angle, you can kind of see his torso's a little gappy there. And it makes me wonder how the new piece will work, the new gear function. So that is interesting. You also get a look at, if it wasn't obvious before, you get a look at the ball joint, and the arms clearly do not attach to the ball joints of the torso piece. They attach separately onto another attachment using, ball sockets. So if that wasn't clear before, that's clear now. His color scheme, pretty solid. The gold actually works for him, I think, better than it did for Kopaka. I felt Kopaka, the gold kind of stood out a bit. Yellow works with red, though. I think it looks good.
Yeah, it's a
Very-
lot more complimentary.
Yeah, it is. Very lava looking. He's got a few trans orange pieces, but compared to all the other sets, not as much. So
No.
that's interesting. His lava board, we've heard reports that the lava board can in fact separate and will become his swords, his main swords, and the two golden blades are backup swords that can attach to his back.
I could actually see that, because if you notice on his back, where I guess the gear box piece or whatever it is, there's this piece. It's really hard to explain Technic pieces, But
yeah,
anyway,
I think I know what you're looking at.
I think
Yeah.
I do too. It looks like it has
It's-
an axle hole.
yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
axle
like it has an axle hole perpendicular to
Yep.
where it's connecting to the gearbox piece, and I feel like that's where those gold daggers or swords are supposed to attach to.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think that is where they're supposed to go.
In which case, I need to refine my Omega Tahu mock and make it more accurate to this.
But yeah, no, overall he's looking pretty beefy. He looks pretty awesome. Of the larger three, I feel like he's actually the scrawniest of them all, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
Yeah, I feel like all the bulk on Tahu is a lot more. It flows better around his overall appearance than say like Kopaka, who looks like very top heavy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Onua, who we know of course is going to be top
Yeah.
heavy.
I will say that he also kind of looks like the standard to me. When I first saw him, it looks like he was kind of the first one made, and then everyone else is kind of based around him.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it looks like to me. He doesn't.
Tahu has 6 of those new armor pieces in gold. 6.
that is really cool.
He was
It's awesome.
standard, yeah.
A lot of those pieces is really cool. Now obviously we were giving the Howl a lot of hate. Honestly, first time I saw the picture, I screamed. I did not like the new Howl.
I didn't
Cried.
scream, but I cried.
Yeah, then
cried
cried. I
quite a bit.
screamed. I was like, "What did you do? What have they done?" It was
And
pretty
I got
funny.
scared because Meso saw the picture first, and we heard his reaction. And
He was just like, oh.
He was like,
Oh.
oh
it's like,
no.
oh no, and we were like, what? What's going on? Did
I
you
got
get the
I got the
picture or
wind
not?
knocked out of me. It was like I got punched in the stomach.
It was a very drastic change. But honestly, after I've looked at the picture for about 2 hours now since we released the video, it's grown on me. I really don't dislike the How as much. I feel like because the old How looked like it had like a weird permanent scowl, as I mentioned outside of the call, and I guess it fits Tahu as a character, but the original How always evoked this kind of wise, emotionless sense. It was very simple, and because of that, it was also real like the perfect mask. I always felt, and I feel like this mask does a better job of kind of capturing that feeling of the How more so than the other one. Whereas the other one, it looked more like the How, but it was also a very different feel to me. It was all rough and rugged and like square shaped, and it created a different feeling to me. And I feel like this one is a bit better in that regard. So it's definitely grown on me. I still think I kind of prefer the old one a bit more, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, and I don't dislike this one. It could have benefited from one more air vent though
Yep.
on either
I-
side, and I feel it would have looked better. Kind of looks like he's a beard.
You know, it
Sam-
kind of does.
Like I
Sam
said
He has
earlier,
that Obi-Wan beard.
yeah, as I said earlier in a different video, looks like his mouth is stuffed, but I, as you have said, it has also grown on to me. I like it a lot better than
It
I
has
did
grown on to
initially.
you. Is it like an infection or?
The look of this new How has grown onto me like the beard that he has now, and actually,
It's old man Tahu.
that's pretty cool. Hmm. I didn't really look at it like that earlier, but hey,
Then is it
No.
growing on
I
you?
guess a beard is quite manly. Oh, dude, he has a goatee.
Oh, no.
Ah, yeah.
Harkening back to the old look of Ven.
Oh yeah, Omega Tahu with a goatee confirmed.
See,
But yeah, no, I mean, looking at it, it looks like a How. If it just had 3 air vents on each side, I think it would be perfect. Because kind of looks like what they did was they took the old How, the original O1 How, and they kind of, you know how like the mouthpiece kind of formed into his brow. It's like they took that, but then they separated the brow from the mouthpiece.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't look as bad as my first reaction to it. It really was, like I said before, if we hadn't seen that first image
Yeah, I would have
of
been fine.
Tahu, that first
Yeah,
like,
I
this
would have
is-
just thought to
would've been
myself, oh,
fine.
it's just a modernization, and brushed it
right,
off.
it would be like, oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's just comparing it to the old one. I don't know. I still like I said, I still like the old one a bit more, but I don't mind it as much as I initially did.
Yeah, I don't really hate this How. I think it's fine. I think it could have been a whole lot worse. Oh my goodness. I was
At least it looks like a How to some degree. Let's
Yeah.
ignore Ninja
Yeah.
Tahu 08.
yeah.
Yeah,
This is
that one.
definitely the best iteration of the How since 2001 IMO. I didn't like the 2002 How Nuva like at all. I didn't like the melty look of it, and it was ugly to me. But this looks more like an upgrade to the original How. It looks tougher.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he's ready to duke it out with those wimpy skull spiders.
Yeah, and that's something I can kind of say for all these masks. They look like a better natural evolution from the original O1 mask than the O2 mask did. And
Yeah.
that is at least a good accomplishment. And if this is a continuation, then that makes sense. They shouldn't be the exact same mask they were before, and they're like an evolved form, and I think that's
they
good.
should- should be better. Beta looking.
Oh, it's gonna be hard to beat the old O1 mask. Those are kind of perfect IMO, but
Yeah, they were all
they really
good.
they captured a great sense of simplicity that Bionicle never really got back.
you know, I find this kind of funny how things have switched up. All the masks now are super complex, while everything else is rather simplistic. In 2001, everything else was rather complex, while the masks were rather simplistic.
Well,
It's actually
I wouldn't say
an
about the
interesting
Toa.
thing
The
to
Toa were
point
pretty
out.
simplistic. The Rahi were very complex. I'll
No,
give
no,
it
no.
that.
I mean the look.
Okay, now I'll give it to you back.
Aesthetic
aesthetic.
skill.
Because that Mata body had like a lot of detail to it that we didn't
Mhm.
really need to have.
Yeah.
But it added a lot of personality to those sets.
Now, I do have this to say really quickly before I do any sort of analysis. That how, when you look at the how on Tahu, the only thing I can see right now when seeing it, it reminds me of Legravis from the Legends of Chima TV show.
You know?
I'm so sick of
Kinda.
you guys talking about Chima. I swear to. Just
I
stop.
can't get that image out of my head.
Well, speaking of an image you won't be able to get out of your head, I have a revelation about Lewa, but I'm gonna wait because I want to build some suspense. So, LJ, what do you think of Tahu as a whole?
The set of Tahu looks pretty great. I like that they bulked him up. He has some gold. His color scheme is solid, consistent as it ever was. It looks very faithful to any iteration of Tahu except for Mystica, because that was a Mystica. But I really like it. The X on his chest looks very intriguing. He also has what seems to be some sort of dog tag patch on the right side of his chest, but a lot of the
Dog
Toa
tag.
have that patch. The blue eyes are a very interesting choice. I like the fact that he has 4 blades. 2 can go on his back, which I see what you're talking about, Ven, that piece. I think I even know what piece they're using on the sides in order to make that be accomplished.
Yeah, same
Yeah, I
here.
think I do too.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to see that. I like that he has huge lava swords, and I'm really interested to see what that looks like with him holding those.
Yeah.
So overall, it looks like a fantastic set. I do see the open ball joints. They do look a little bit too open. There's nothing really covering them aside from the arms. I'm still going to wait and see how that looks.
Only thing.
Gappier torso than the others seem to be, but I think it's just the angle, and they're all going to be rather gappy.
Yeah.
Back armor's nice, though. All the coloration, the color layering looks great. I'm really happy with it. The how, I don't have much of an issue with it. I think it's a nice adaptation. I still like the old how better, but it's an alright adaptation. Although I agree with pretty much everything you guys have already said. Skull Spider seems to be in a completely new and unique color to it in this set. So that's interesting to note. But overall, I really like this set. There's not a whole lot of things I can say or any revelations. Aside from the back gear thing, it seems to clip on via the ball and socket system instead of via pins. That's the only thing I really noticed.
See, my really my biggest complaint about this, and probably my only legitimate complaint, are his feet. They look
Ah,
so-
Yeah, they're silver.
and well, his hands are silver too, but I don't mind those so much. I guess.
I don't even see his feet.
I do.
No, you
They're the
can see
same
them.
feet as Lewa.
Yeah, they're
I can
those
see his
stupid,
left.
overused Hero Factory feet pieces that are on all the Toa.
I do
Except
kind
they
of
are
loathe them.
not in. They're not even in gold. They're not in red. They're freaking silver. I don't even understand why Tahu has silver hands, but I mean, I noticed that a while back. But his feet, come on, man,
Yeah, I'm with you.
that's gonna look ridiculous. I'm gonna replace those with either red or gold feet.
And they have them in red too, because Furno
And-
has
and
a
they
Yeah,
have-
machine.
they most definitely do. That's just some odd color layering there.
Lego loves their silver hands and feet. They did this with Brain Attack, and it made me rage just as much.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Now, as far as the background is concerned, there's a huge volcano. Don't know what the relevance is.
Man, guy,
He's obviously lava surfing, which is nice to see, but I think he's also splitting the lava apart, because you can see the lava on the right side, our left, and then the left side, our right.
Interesting.
And
So
the
like he's
reason he's doing
uncovering
that-
the mask. It was hidden underneath the
Exactly.
lava lake.
You see, I've noticed this in pretty much all, or at least most, of the Toa's backgrounds. There are at least some, okay, maybe just Tahu's and Kopakas. There are stairs, and you can see it on the right side of the packaging. There's a staircase leading down. Now you don't see where it actually ends, but that's because it ends in lava. There's
I see a
also a
pillar.
pillar. You can slightly see a pillar on the right side as well. So
You
obviously
can
there's
also
a
see that
temple.
spider creature again.
Exactly.
It's Leonui.
There's-
It's the 777 steps.
No, my man, no.
Wow.
But yeah, so he's splitting the lava apart to retrieve his mask.
Nice. I like it.
But yeah,
Nice
that's all I have
lava
to say.
splitting. I like it.
Oh my man.
Okay, well, I have a Lewa revelation, but I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna build some more suspense first. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, here's the revelation.
Actually, I do have one thing to mention. Not about Tahu, but after Lewa, I'll do it.
Feel free to go first. Mine's like the ultimate revelation.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I was just gonna add on to something I said really earlier on, and I mentioned that you could see the eye stalk in Gali's packaging, and I was going to say, oh, we'll get into that later because there is another set where you can most definitely see it. Issue is, I forgot we don't have a new one.
Yeah, we
But-
had a bit of a revelation.
Yeah, if you go back to the preliminary video that we released and you look at Anua, we had initially thought that he had two gold gears. He has one gear. The other gold item on the left side is his eye stalk, which connects to his silver head that the mask connects to. And you can see it very, very clearly after
Once you point it out.
Yeah.
Because they're not even the same color of gear. I don't even know why we ever assumed they were both gears, other than I don't know.
Like that they're probably
We kind of just jumped to
just
that.
both yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both yellow, but they're different shades of yellow. It's very clear that one's translucent compared to the other.
I feel disappointed. I did not pick up on it.
Oh.
But no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that. So here's the Lewa revelation. Go back and look at Lewa. It's about his lower arms.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know, I'm not sure if we mentioned it, but like on one of his arms, the armor is positioned oddly. It's like on top of his arm, it's his left arm, rather than on the sides. And I didn't mention it because honestly, I think that's a rendering error. Because stuff like that happens all the time. It happened with Vorox, if I recall. Or maybe I'm thinking
Yeah.
wrongly. Some other sets, I think it will be on the side in the final one. But it's the bone piece underneath. Because you can see it has not one but two technic holes on either side of the ball joint, which means Lewa has super long gorilla arms. Longer than everybody else.
Wow.
Why?
I don't know. But
Well,
that
I guess it's fitting that Leo looks weird and
Like a
ugly and
monkey?
out of proportion.
Like
yeah,
like LJ.
like
Hey,
LJ,
okay,
yeah.
see? They're trying to reference me. 2 axes, a golden Miru.
Ugliness.
Gorilla arms.
Ugly. Looks like a gorilla. Yeah.
Ugliness.
So like, yeah,
This is me.
I felt like pointing that out just because. Yeah.
Oh, you kind of overhyped it, man. I thought it was.
Yeah,
hoping for
I
something
thought
a
it was
bit-
going to be something like, oh, and you can actually see something really important to the story, like the Kanohi Igniter or something.
Yes. Kanohi,
Yeah,
like,
Kakahi. Also, another thing, Lewa Master of Jungle. Lewa L Jungle J.
Okay, that's it. That's no.
I'm
I
done.
refuse.
Uh,
I refuse to believe.
Let's end this recording now.
Let's stop this now.
This is like 2 hours. Jeez.
okay, yeah, this is our longest since the 100th episode special, I believe.
Well, I mean, hey, it's a special occasion. Bionicle does not come back every day.
Yeah.
That's
We
right,
haven't even
does.
gone over
Yeah.
the defenders yet.
Oh man,
It's a good
or
thing
Nua.
not all-
Oro Nua.
You know, I'm glad that all of the sets come with a Golden Kanohi. That's something
I am
I'm
too.
really happy.
Me
about.
too.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that really kind of concludes all our opinions on that. If you thought that we left something out or you have something to add, you should totally say so on the TTV message boards at board.ttvpodcast.com.
Newly
Which
back
is now
after
back up.
this downtime.
After the downtime, yeah, we were. What do we call it? The DDoS eruption.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
which we go into detail in the podcast that we recorded before this, but will be released after this.
DD
Right. So
117.
you'll know. What
Ah,
it is.
dude, X is gonna be so angry.
That's what we said. You were like,
I
man,
just realized why he's gonna be angry.
I'm gonna call it 1.117.5. But no.
Why can't we just do? We should call this Biotalk, man.
No, it's dumb. CTV
Uh,
episode
We
117.
talked
Anyway.
for a long time. We didn't follow the normal TTV format.
So thank you all for watching. I love these sets. They're fantastic, bar some little errors here and there and stuff we don't necessarily like. I'm looking forward to seeing the Protectors and Onua, which we should have in a couple days, maybe even tomorrow. Who knows?
We better have him tomorrow, Meso. I want Onua.
Me too. Onua's the one I'm looking forward to seeing the most because he was my favorite out of the original Toa in the display and the leaks. So hey. But no, thank you all for watching and listening to this incredibly long Bionicle discussion.
Be sure to check out Just Too Good's channel too.
Yeah,
Helped us out a lot.
Yes, she was very gracious in giving us these weeks.
yeah,
And you should definitely check his stuff out. He
Really
has a
cool
lot of
dude.
good stuff. Yeah.
exactly.
He covers more general Lego, so for you Construction fans that are subscribed to us right now, that's what you're going to be getting into. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's good
It's gonna be
quality.
general stuff, but he gets good quality stuff. He also has a lot of stuff that he leaks ahead of time. Like what was the earlier one? Boba Fett
Yes.
ship, Slave
some of
one.
the things we don't really cover, like Star
Right.
Wars and stuff, he's got over there. So
Yeah, today he leaked Lego Movie 2015 sets, so that's pretty cool.
yeah,
But no, thank you for watching, and we will see you in a couple days or tomorrow, depending, for the rest of the images, and probably not another 2-hour long discussion because they're protected.
doubt it.
Yeah, the Protectors will not be as in-depth.
They're all pretty much the same set. So
Yeah. So thank you all for watching for the third time. I'm Messina.
I'm Bardaran.
I'm LJ.
I'm Kahi.
And this was TTV 117. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hashtag Omega Tahu.